Yeah.
So we are now recording the December 18th, 2020 Small Business Accounting Advisors. Hello, everyone.
Happy
Hello.
Friday.
This will be the last 2020 recording. Next week is Christmas. The week after that is New Year's Day. So we'll be back January 8th, 2021. And as Sarah says, reset.
Total reset.
Total reset. Just forget 2020 happened.
It's going to be magic.
Just wipe the hard drive.
Yeah, watch out.
Like the hard drive, yes. So let's quickly talk about the Intuit payments problem. Shannon, you had problems?
Yeah. So what I got a whole bunch of notifications the following day. I don't know what triggered. It sounded like massive. Everybody who received a credit card payment that day got told that their deposit was on hold and being reviewed. So it just held up the deposit by one day, I think.
Do you think that they were really in review? I don't use Intuit payments, so I don't know what happened. But boy, oh boy, what a problem for people that do.
Happened.
Yeah. And thankfully, I was in a place where I wasn't counting on that deposit to happen on the 15th versus the 16th. But I know it did cause a lot of issues for people. But it sounds like it was, if you only accept ACH, you were fine. It was just if you accepted a credit card payment. And it just so happened, I accepted one credit card payment in the last 6 months, and that was during this time period.
Well, aren't you lucky?
I was, yeah. So
Let me know the next time you process one so I don't do it.
I will let you know. I'll post on Facebook. Hey, everybody, I accepted a credit card payment. Don't do it. But they resolved it really fast on their own. And I got a whole bunch of notifications the next day saying that they were that they were working on fixing it and that it was fixed within a couple of hours.
Awesome. Well,
because I signed up for the Intuit incident reports or whatever they're called.
I did not get, I have those incident reports also, and I did not get that it was fixed.
I didn't see it on that. I got a separate one.
I got about
days later apologizing or something.
I got about 4 or 5 saying that they were, anything deposited on the 14th or 15th is under review.
That's pretty unnerving to get your deposits under review. We're not giving you your money.
Right, exactly.
Unnerving, huh? Mm-hmm.
Second news announcement is Google's announcing that they're going to be putting digital limits on storage on Gmail, on Google Drive, on Photos. I didn't see what the limits were, only I expect them to announce that later, and they're saying June 2021.
I saw something about if you haven't accessed a Gmail account or Google account for 2 years, they're going to nuke it. So I was trying to think, I have some spares that I use I haven't used it in a while. I have one that I use for the choir and stuff like that. So
You mean that? You mean I'm going to use some of my 76,000 emails on Google?
Yeah.
You're going to have to figure out what to do, Dennis. I guess they're going bye-bye.
Probably nothing.
Bye-bye.
All you have to do is log in and they'll let you know if you're over your limit or not over your limit. And then what they were doing before is they would save things that you had deleted so that you could recover them. And once you're at your storage limit, once you delete something, it's just gone. They're not saving it.
Well, hopefully they'll give us tools to be able to delete by date, because anything that happened in 2015, if I didn't look at it by now, I don't care.
Well, Now, I
after,
think at one point our Google Photos or something was getting full, so we're paying. Is this for the free accounts or just for the
It's
free?
just saying Google. I don't know if it's just Google in general or G Suite. I have no
Yeah,
details.
see, I don't have a G Suite. That's a business thing.
Right, I have no details on you know, what the details are. So we'll have to see, we'll have to wait and see.
I would think they just raise the price on the storage for like Google Drive if you're paying for it. You know, like I pay like $10 a month for 2
Right.
gig. I'm only about half full on that, so.
Well, I guess, once they've indexed it and they've already figured out, how that impacts their advertising algorithm, they don't really need to save it for you anymore.
Exactly, exactly. So you'll have to figure out what to do. I mean, there's big hard drives that you can save lots and lots and lots of data. So we'll
Yeah.
just have
We
stacks of
all
hard
knew
drives.
this was going to come someday, right? Where,
Absolutely,
okay,
absolutely,
unlimited data for life, whatever. Yeah.
exactly. It accumulates. It really does.
Yeah, really does. Speaking of things accumulating, can I transition to that other SolarWinds topic?
Absolutely.
God.
That's where I wanted to go next.
That way.
My God, I mean, I tell you, Sarah's got an excellent post out there on Facebook, but the breadth and depth of this is just incredible. I actually used to sell SolarWinds at one point, or not really sell it so much as it was a product that I used with my customers when I was an MSP. And it's very pervasive, right? I mean, IT guys just like say, all right, this is the agent that you must have on all of your machines, right? Like a no-brainer, like we're going to keep you secure with this. So for that to actually have been hacked is just so, it really is breathtaking. And, what's breathtaking even more is I was reading the article from Microsoft's perspective, and the depth of things that they have in their arsenal that they could do is actually pretty phenomenal, right? Like, okay, so any software that was basically tainted with that, we're revoking your code immediately so the operating system can flag it. Stuff like that. So it's like, okay, now we're gonna all of our trying to remember the name of their engine. I use Malwarebytes, so I can't remember Microsoft's, but so Microsoft's engine immediately started flagging it.
Defender?
So Defender, yeah, exactly. So, and then they've got a whole nother algorithm. So it was like you read through the depth of how far this went into large companies, anybody that was big enough to actually have MSPs, put that out there. It is really an industry standard product. So a very wide, group of people. And so if all of those people got impacted and then they, did communication with, man, it just is like, wow. And the depth that it impacted not just commerce, but also our democracy. Being able to have, folks, it's a big deal. And I was really.
How did it impact our democracy? What
So
information did they go after?
We
Yeah,
don't know at this point.
Yeah, I was going to say the full depth. I don't think we know, but I mean, I think what has been like kind of announced so far is that I don't want to say something that's not true, but I believe at least 2 foreign governments have been able to get information through that channel. So it's like, wow, it's just amazing the depth and breadth
I'd be worried about them.
that.
I'd be worried about
I
them
found
going
out
to
about-
the,
Oh, sorry.
I say I'd be worried about them
Be on our Friday
being able
morning
to
call.
control power plants and.
Well, our
nuclear-
infrastructure, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if you start thinking about it,
Utilities.
it is terrifying. So do y'all know what we're talking about? Last Sunday, my husband's a security nut and he's going at his phone, and he's like, this is bad. This is
Maybe
bad.
like back away from the
And
table.
I didn't know, exactly what he was talking about, but he said, we're being attacked. The United States, this is cyber war. I'm like, what are you talking about? So
Sarah, you're muted.
I did
I
have
don't know why. Okay. About, this is a program that, well, think about the industries that use it. Treasury, commerce, 5 branches of the military, NSA, state, the Office of the President, our top 5 US accounting firms, defense titans like Lockheed, hundreds of universities. So
Wow.
FireEye is the part of the product that they were using, was bringing through an IT management system called SolarWinds. And SolarWinds is used by hundreds of thousands of organizations and supply chains. And Russia has been in these systems for up to 9 months. Nobody knows.
Wow.
So when SolarWinds, it's not like somebody clicked on a link and we got phished, okay? This is a product said, here's our March update, and you go, and the IT people go, hello. And what it did was it came, if I have this right, it somehow hacked the security certificate. It's the certificate that says this is good. Okay. So it looks good. You did the update. Now they're in your backdoor. Now they're in your network. Now they're able to act as admins in these massive networks. Okay. And then from what I was seeing today, now this was last Sunday. Okay. And I'm like, I'm figuring Monday, this is going to blow up. I'm not seeing anything on the news. I saw something on CNN, David Kennedy, who's a big security guy. We found out he said he was going to be on, I think it was Fox or CNN or something, as the security expert. And the woman interviewing him is making jokes about passwords and stuff. And I'm just like, are you serious? Okay. So here we are on Friday, and I watched the thing today that was talking about, okay, now they have infiltrated 500, like 500 corporations in addition to our government. Now, they aren't going to exploit that. They're not, they're going to pick and choose what they can exploit, because the more they try to exploit, the chance of them being discovered. Okay. So they may be in these systems, but they haven't done anything.
And that's probably why nobody understands.
Unreal. I mean,
Well, I think the answer. Let me jump in for a minute on that point, because I think, what you say is that they haven't done anything, but truly, right? My father said it a long time ago. Information is power. So we really have no idea what information that we have that has been exploited at this point, right? So, yeah, I mean, if you've got a great, listening device in a house, why would you do anything to, draw attention to it, right? The thing that's most alarming to me is not that they didn't crash somebody's system. It's alarming that they actually had access to that many systems, and again, the breadth and depth that they had access to. It's like, well, what information do you want today? I don't know. Let's go look at this server and see what's going on there.
Email, documents.
Yeah.
Well, it seems like they could put
Stuff
some
that they
time
can
bombs
hold
in.
over people's heads, blackmail. I mean,
Seemed like they could put some time bombs in there too,
they
or,
could. And then they're saying, even though they're closing down these systems, that they still don't know what kind of backdoors and malware. I mean, how do you take massive networks and just wipe the hard drive? I mean, it isn't that simple to root this out once they're in. And yeah, so I was talking to Mark, because he's like, because we talk about users who do dumb stuff, like employees of corporations that use the same password and things like that. And then they use it on their home thing. And then they use the password on corporate. And then that's how people do it. Okay. So
well, that particular point is actually being discussed a lot, because there are a lot of really smart security people now that say, don't create a different password on every place, because ultimately, right, you never actually, most people don't actually have a system for managing it.
You have
So
to have,
to the extent,
you have to have a program. You have to.
well, you don't have to. There's millions, tens of millions that will never. I obviously you and I do, because we have access to highly sensitive information. But the quibble that I'm going to do, and then I'll shut up, is that, you know, to the extent that you actually have a strong password and you use it consistently, you'll actually have a strong password and use it consistently, and that's better than having weak passwords that, you know, on every system. That's the point that many
Well,
people are now
or-
making.
If you use a password for personal purposes, don't use it at work. So Mark, you know, as an IT guy, he's like, and they all turn around and look at the IT guys, and he's like, oh, hold on a minute. So you should lock your doors when you leave, right? In your household, you go, oh no, Mark's in charge of locking the door. I don't lock the door. Just Mark locks the door. Think about that. Everybody has to, without even thinking about it, lock the doors.
Or
So,
have a
can't
better
look at
system
that.
or any system of doing it.
Mhm. Now, the other disturbing part of all this is how quiet it is. And SolarWinds has pulled down, you know, they had pages of our best clients are above. All that's gone. You know, they've stripped their websites of that stuff. We haven't heard from the White House. I mean, we need to do, I want to know what the White House is going to do to Russia.
Probably nothing.
This is an attack. So I don't know, but you talk about a wake-up call to this entire country. You know, they haven't shut down our, you know, electrical plants and stuff like that, or trucking, or, I mean,
Or the
think about it.
banking system or the stock
But
market. Or,
I think it's going to take that happening before people wake up, though,
Well,
unfortunately.
you know what?
They try
They
not to
stopped
panic
the
us.
water on the California aqueduct, all of Southern California.
Yeah.
Can you imagine if we turned on the tap and nothing came out?
Well, that's just stuff that affects us directly. I mean, you think 5 branches of the military? NSA? God, Homeland Security? The Russians are in the Homeland Security networks. It's mind blowing. That's really mind blowing. So keep an eye out for SolarWinds. You'll start seeing more and more
probably a bad investment right
news.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's a good
You're right.
stock to short.
now.
Good short.
So I was
Got
thinking.
it.
So that was exciting this week. What else is exciting?
Well,
The
the next
NEC?
exciting is totally 180. We're going to go with the new 1099 NEC. We talked
you
about
go.
that a little bit earlier, but Shannon, can
Mhm.
you tell us about what's happening?
Yeah, a lot of people are freaking out. It is making things a little bit more challenging for processing the 1099s, but I think it'll be a really good thing in the long run, because how many people knew that the 1099 miscellaneous form had 2 separate due dates for
Yeah, I
5
didn't know
years?
that last year.
I didn't know that until you told us last time we talked about this, Shannon.
But
Well,
you know what?
you know-
I wanted to get them over with. So if the rent is due at the end of February, but box 7 was due in January, I didn't care. I got it out.
Right.
Well, right, and I put all of them out by the end of January because I wanted to be done with them too. But what would happen is, say you got a client later, like in February or early March, and they hadn't processed their 1099s. So you process the 1099s. There's one box 7, and the rest are rent or attorneys.
Mhm.
And then all of them would be marked late if you
Late.
sent them all in one batch.
Right.
So that was because the IRS can only have one due date per form. And if you send even one with box 7 filled out, the IRS put in the January 31st due date, not the March 31st due date.
Mhm.
So they pulled in the form that they deactivated in 1982, the 1099 NEC, moved only the non-employee compensation, box 7, over to there. And in box 7 now, it's the $5,000 held for resale, which I can't remember what box that was before. But, and because I've never used that box, so I've only done, I have, in my entire career, I've only done the non-employee compensation, the attorney, and the rent. Those are the only boxes that I've ever filled out. Wait, I take that back. I've done royalties once because that's a $10 threshold.
Oh, and prizes goes into box 3, like a
Other income, yeah.
Gambling.
Yeah,
prizes
but-
and awards.
but
Box
I,
4 is
when,
federal income tax withheld.
Yeah. Yeah. Anything where you had to withhold tax had to go on it.
yeah, and you know, when I was reading the instructions, I guarantee you half of the instructions talk about cash payments for fish.
I know.
I saw that.
It's always that weird. What?
Yeah, I was just looking at that. Box 5.
Oh, wait, I
Those
take it,
proceeds.
I misspoke again. In like 1999 or 2000, I worked at a job where they paid rent for cropland.
Okay,
Oh,
okay. And that was box 10. We have,
different.
So the 1099 NEC has the non-employee compensation in box 1. And I don't know why why the direct sales totaling 5,000 or more in consumer products is on both the miscellaneous and the NEC.
It looks identical. Hold on. A direct sales firearm. Okay. Maybe it is just a check mark, which is a flag. So maybe they're thinking, okay, if they get a 1099, they'll have a check mark. If they get rent, they'll get a check mark, and we're really going to look at them. I don't know.
Yeah, and then the whole rest of the form is just the federal income tax withheld, the state income tax withheld, the state payer's state ID number, and state income. But I don't know why box 7 would be different than box 1. So
Oh,
I would imagine if you fill out 5, then you have to fill out 6 and 7. But if you, and
I don't know. I've never had anybody with state withholding on a
neither have I in
lender.
the thousands of these that I've done.
Now, we did have a vendor who was audited, and the IRS came in, and we were actually taking his IRS assessment out of his 1099 and said it's like a garnishment, taking his garnishment, but then that wouldn't affect there. So maybe it's something like that with the state. I don't know. But anyway,
Maybe.
I think the research, you just have to research your state. Georgia. Georgia requires forms 1099 NEC for the tax year 2020. They will accept electronic filing. So it doesn't say only if it has withholding. Idaho says only if there's Idaho withholding.
Again, Ida home.
Idaho? Idaho, is there an M on
I
the
have a
end of that?
question. I have a question.
go ahead.
That on both forms, it says payer, and it's the check mark for the box. Payer made direct sales totally, that means the person issuing the 1099 paid it to this amount, totaling 5,000 or more of consumer products to recipient for resale. Is
I
that
thought it
the
was
commission?
I thought it was just cash, not because
Because that doesn't sound like a commission to me. What we do is we have salesmen, and if they make more than $5,000 in sales, but they're not taking the product from us and reselling it, they're,
Ernest is ready.
oh, he is.
What?
He's ready to go. The last
Oh.
turn of the day, maybe.
Oh, I think there's a mistake on the form.
Oh, no. We found a mistake on the form. Yay.
That
Unless
means
I'm-
they'll change the deadline.
Well,
What about-
unless I'm reading something wrong,
Uh-huh.
the website talks about box 7 and fish.
No.
On the
it's-
miscellaneous.
Mhm.
So here's the deal. Here's the deal.
Well, fish is 11.
That's the mistake, love.
There's no box 11 on the website.
Oh, no.
So the instructions don't have box 11 and they have fish in box 7.
Yeah, but my guess is that if you use a company to do it, I'm gonna actually somehow add that to, what happens is my company, we're gonna use somebody else to do it. And I'm gonna just export the report to Excel and add another column and say where it needs to go. I won't do them myself, I don't think.
So we
Maybe I
use
will.
desktop. Okay, so the first everybody's all of a sudden, what do we do? What do we do? It's a new form. It's basically for most of us, box 7 moved to its own form. So whatever we used to put in box 7, it's got its own little.
That goes to the new form.
Goes to the new form. Okay.
This is back
So,
7.
Desktop came out with an update this week. What was this week? Where so a client called because I had already tested her 1099s and I said it's still set up with last year's coding, box 7, for all the mapping your general ledger, mapping
Right.
your accounts. Okay. And I had already found, I said, you set up a whole bunch of new accounts. You need to go flag them. So I'd given her homework. Of course, that was 2 weeks ago. So she updates her 2020 and she goes in and she's like, the screens are all different. It's not there. It's not like you told me to and everything. And I hadn't loaded mine. Matter of fact, I was just going to 2020 and it said, do you want to do your update? And so it was downloading the update and I went, stop. I'm just like, okay, so I made an appointment with her on Thursday. I said, let me get my act together. Let me see how the software thinks now, and we'll do it together. So Wednesday, I updated mine, and I went into one of our clients had already been updated, so I knew they had a big chart. I go in there, and okay, now when you go into the 1099, it used to say 1099 wizard. But you go into
right.
the 1099 program. Whoever thought this up, I want to strangle them. It didn't need to be this complicated. It really didn't.
Of course not.
Okay. So now there's 2 big buttons. Do you want to go play with your NECs or do you want to go play with your miscellaneous, MISCs? And I'm like, okay, let's go look at the NEC. Okay. So the screens all look the same. Here's your vendor list. Here, and it gets to the mapping and it has flipped a switch and your entire chart is omit. I'm like, okay. So they want us to remap our entire chart. I'm like, all right, that's a pain. Some companies just do their subcontractor accounts, but in all honesty, you can find services all over your chart from a prepaid account to, I had somebody paint a brand new vehicle one time. I mean, there's like even fixed assets. Okay. So you start and you go to change omit to drop down button, box 1, it was like box 1, 3, and 5 or something on the new NEC. I'm like, well, where's rent? And I'm thinking, okay, so your only choice when you go left into the NEC is to take your one chart of accounts and pick the NECs, right? I'm like, okay. So then you get all the way out And then you go, now I want to play with the MISCs. So you go in there, screens look the same. There's your vendor list. Okay. There's your chart. And there's the same chart of accounts. And now some of them say, you know, box 1 NEC. And you find, you know, just go find your rent. And you can, and now your only option is the drop downs for the miscellaneous form. And I'm like, why didn't they just have us map it on the same screen? Okay.
Yeah, no kidding.
So I'm like, seriously? Well, I have a music festival who has, they've stacked their chart of account by department. So I don't have one equipment rental or one musical instruments, because the musicians will sometimes perform, but they'll say, hey, I'll rent you my piano for $500. Okay. So we have a combination rent and services, which I used to do on 11099. Now I have to charge the client to do 210. But anyway, I regress. So we're trying to map this, and if we got one wrong, it's grayed out. So if it's grayed out, you have to get all the way out. Oh, I know what she did. She said, well, I'm going to shortcut this. So when she was in the NEC side of the program, she said, make them all box 1. It'll be easier to make the whole chart box 1 on the NEC. And now I'm going to go in and do the exceptions. I'm like, well, that's a good idea. You go all the way to the miscellaneous side and you go to change it and it's grayed out. Nope, box 1, NEC. So you got to get all the way out, go over here, go find them all, turn them all off, come all the way out, go all the way to the
Oh, that's crazy.
We did this for hours. I was just like, who wrote this thing? Okay. It's simply a map. It has always been that it can only map one general ledger account to one box. And so it's like, well, if you find that you have a vendor and you've got rent and services in the same general ledger account, and it has all these instructions how to set up new GL accounts and how to do journal entries to move your history. And I'm just like, seriously, but it's always been that way. You never want to mix rent with services. I mean, we should know that by now. So I don't know. We got it all set up. It's working, and praise the Lord. I printed some samples and they fit the same envelope from last year.
Nice, nice.
I just bought all those envelopes. So, but it's funny that, why did they make it so difficult? But you know, that's software. That is something that popped up, and now software designers have to retrofit their software to run after the IRS for these new rules. So, but yeah, so just anticipate when you start to do 1099s, your chart of account is unmatched
This year for May.
Okay,
there it is.
because on mine, if I'm under vendors, if I go all the way to the right next to the green button that says new vendor, I still have the circle that says prepare 1099s.
Okay, let me go that way. Expenses, vendor, prepare 1099s. There's a button there too.
Okay.
You don't have it? I got it in 2 places. I've got it in
And if I go,
screen, and I've got it on the payroll.
yeah, but the only ones that are on my, under the contractors, under payroll,
Yeah.
are the ones that I send direct payments to.
Oh.
But they're all under, I just ran a quick report, and they're all of my payments, all of my eligible 1099 payments are under the vendors tab.
I'm gonna make a vendor a 1099. How do you do that? Go to edit, track for 1099s. Give him a fake number. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Doesn't like the fake number. Please enter. Oh, no dash. Excuse me. All right, let me go 5, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then save. It should squawk at me for no address. Let's see. All right. I'm playing. Save. Oh, it still doesn't like the business ID. Why?
I don't know, but here I got to a spot. So once you click on prepare 1099s, this is what it looks like in QBO. You've got the
Okay.
most common pay types, and then you can choose the account that it's in. And for mine, it would be
Okay, I got it. I got it. Okay.
subcontract.
So, I guess I should give them some money. Let's see. New transaction. Check. My husband's gonna go, what's this check in here for?
But what I find interesting is on the miscellaneous, you've got state and federal taxes withheld,
Yeah.
but on the instruction, oh, they only are asking about the federal. I missed it. I was looking at it too fast. So there's box 4 1099 miscellaneous for federal tax withheld and box 4 1099 NEC for federal. They don't have anything for state. Probably but why do they not have it for the state on the miscellaneous?
Okay. I don't know. See, now you must pay contractors out of this file. I'm in a file that hasn't. Okay. So I said I flagged the vendor for a 1099. I gave him a check for $610. I flip over here, click on 1099s, and it goes, whoa, let's get started. Take advantage of early bird prices through January 16th. Okay. And I'm like, I don't want to use you.
Yeah, so then you just hit next because without purchasing.
Where's the next? It just says, let's get started. Okay. Well, let's get started.
I must have clicked that.
Oh, okay.
I click things without reading them. Just ask Ernest.
All right. So,
Oh, isn't that interesting? Mine said, oh yeah, January 16th, and then finished by 5 p.m. January 28th, if you want to get it done. Okay. But they're going to do it. I guess they're going to have their own version of it.
all right.
Yeah,
That
so
would be interesting.
Oh, here we go. I got to the same screen. So what? Okay. So fishing boat proceeds. I love that. You're right. I don't see anything about state withholding.
Mhm.
You know what I wonder about? You know, there's all these businesses, small businesses, like little neighborhood grocery stores
Yeah.
that shop at Costco.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And they buy all this stuff and they take it to their little grocery store and they resell it.
But I think this is cash. This isn't. I don't think it's.
Oh,
everybody
you're
who
right. It
buys
is cat, and
merchandise
people would pay
sell.
with a.
Yeah, I don't
Well,
think.
what about if they pay with ACH? But I'll bet they're paying the sales tax and then reselling.
Yeah, but I
Yeah.
mean, if I own a store and I'm buying product for resale, I'm not going to give a 1099 to every single vendor I bought for my entire grocery store. That I don't think it's meant for that. I think it's meant for cash.
Got
No,
it.
it's meant more for if you buy a lot of stuff mail order or direct. Oh,
I think you'd be using that you wouldn't pay a sales tax. People that buy at Costco pay a sales tax.
We're confusing sales tax, which is a state thing, with the Fed. So this is a federal form. But,
yeah.
So help me with this, y'all. So I'm going through the little wizard in QBO, and it says the most common pay types is box 1 NEC. Choose an account. There's my chart. There's the mapping.
Yep.
So
Yep.
this makes more sense. Box 1 NEC, go find them all. Click on the next box, go find it. Okay, that makes sense.
So the instructions for box 7, payer made direct sales of 5,000 or more.
Yeah.
Enter an X in the checkbox for sales by you of $5,000 or more of consumer products to a person on a buy, sell, deposit commission, or commission basis for resale.
Person.
anywhere other than in a permanent retail establishment, do not enter a dollar amount in this box. The report
Bye,
you
Dennis.
must give to the recipient for the direct sales needs to be made on the official form. It may be in a form of letter showing this information along with commission prizes, awards, etc. And there's no link to click to take it to the official form, but it's not made in a retail establishment.
Huh, okay.
So I'm thinking more of like the people, if I were to sell $5,000 of Amway products to a person to resell. That's what I'm thinking you mark that box.
Mm.
We'll have
Oh,
to
that
come
makes
back
sense.
to this. I think we're going to end this for now. We are way over time. We'll have to dedicate a whole recording just to 1099
Right.
and NEC, I think.
But I think
We
everybody needs to
probably
calm down about the NEC.
They do.
Wait
And-
until next year.
Basically, it's box 7 got moved to another piece of paper, that's all.
Interestingly
Yeah.
enough, the IRS has a webinar on this, so I thought I might go watch that over the holidays.
So, okay, next year we'll bring this subject up again before the end of January. So
Sounds
happy
good.
holidays to
Happy
everyone.
holidays, Merry
Hanukkah
Christmas.
is
Happy New
over.
Year.
Happy Hanukkah to anyone that celebrated. Happy New Year. See
Happy
you next
holidays,
year.
everyone.
Happy holidays.
Oh, he's done. He's headed home. Speak of